Hi there. This particular video is for Older Americans Month, but it's specifically for people who wear glasses. Because I mean, how many times do you look around, can't find your glasses anywhere, can't find them because you don't have them on, and you don't have them on because you can't find them. I wear reading glasses, those drugstore kind, and I have little pairs of glasses all over the place. I'm always looking for them. But now I want to show you what you can do about that, because I want to show you how to make lanyards, not just any old lanyards. I've seen some really pretty ones out there, but I'm going to show you how to make interchangeable lanyards. Lanyards that'll go with anything you want, because you're going to make them in the colors that you want so that you can change it to go with every outfit. So I'm going to show you how to make a linked chain one like that just has all kinds of beads on it. You choose the beads. And I'm going to show you how to make one that's a lot simpler. And I've already got my glasses on there. It just has a self hook. See if I can get up there so you can see that. It's going to be one piece with a self hook on it. I'm trying to see if I have one here. Yes, I do. So what you're going to be doing is taking a piece of craft wire or artistic wire, and you're going to string your beads on it just like you would with a necklace. And then you're going to make a self hook on each end that will attach to a piece of cord. It can be any kind of cord you want, leather, silk, satin, whatever you choose. And then it'll attach at the bottom to a ring. And what's really neat about it is you can change out your beads. So this self hook makes it possible to hook to both ends, and then you can take those off and change it to any colors that you want. Oops, fumble fingers. So I've got my little hook there that we're going to make. Attach it to my ring. And then it attaches to the cord that we're also going to make. And there we go. And I'm going to show you that again because I might have been a little off camera when I was doing that. So I'm going to unhook the one. And hook on the other one. Here's the other ring. Here's my self hook. Just attach it to my ring. Like so. And then attach the other end to my cord. There's my little loop. Slide that in there. And there we go. Nice and neat. Now the other kind has S hooks, that they're also detachable. So these hooks come off like that. And you're left with a chain of beads. There are my hooks. Detachable hooks, detachable beads, interchangeable lanyard. There's my hook. Take it off the other side. There we go. And there's my cord. So what you're going to need is a piece of cord, just any kind of cord that you choose to use. And one of these rings, and I just used a standard keychain ring. That's all this is. It's a keychain ring. You can use any enclosed ring that you would like to use. This was really easy to find. I had some around the house. Keychain ring, it works just fine. You can use any kind of closed-in ring that you want. I'm gonna hook that back on there. Put that on my ring. There we go. Very nice. Now I'm going to show you how to do both. I'm going to show you how to make the hooks, the S hooks. We've done this in another video, but I'm going to go over that again. So I'm going to show you how to make your S hooks. I'm going to show you how to do the cord that you need. And I'm going to show you how to do your link chain. That's for starters. And then once I finish that, I'm going to show you how to do the all-in-one, the all-inclusive one. But let's start with the link chain. The first thing that you're going to need is a length of cord. I'm using leather. I'm doing 12 inches. 12 inches will complete it about this long around your neck. And then of course you can add as many beads as you want to make it, to extend the length. You can make the cord longer, you can make the beads longer. It's up to you how long you want your lanyard to be. So I've cut 12 inches of cord. And the other thing that I need in order to make my loops that the S hooks are going to attach to is some 24 gauge wire. So for this project, you're going to need both 24 gauge wire that's going to make your loops, hold your loops together, and 20 gauge wire for everything else. So I've cut my 12 inches of cord. I have two 4-inch pieces of 24 gauge wire, and let's start by making our loop. So the first thing I'm going to do is make a small loop at the top. It just needs to be big enough in order for your S hook to go through, or either of your hooks to go through. It doesn't have to be huge. Just big enough so that you can easily slide that in so that you don't have to fight with it. So just give it, just eyeball it and make it the size that you want. So there's my loop, and I'm giving myself about 1/4 of an inch down here at the bottom of space, because I'm going to be wrapping my wire around that to hold my loop together. So the first thing I'm going to do is to take my 4-inch piece of wire, and I'm going to put it down here on my cord with about a 1/4 inch tail of cord here. So there's about a 1/4 inch tail. And I have about an inch tail of wire in order to hold on to it while I'm wrapping. So I have an inch tail of wire. I'm going to turn this down a little bit so that you can see better. And I've got a short end and a long end of wire. And I'm going to start wrapping that long end around the bottom, where you can see that little tail of a cord. I'm just going to wrap it around here about 4 times. 3, 4. Okay, make sure my wires are nice and close together. And you can also take your pliers, squeeze it down to make sure that they're nice and neat. Yeah. And then I'm going to take the rest of that, that tail, and I'm going to feed it through in between the tail of my cord, the short tail and the long tail of my cord. So there, that's right in between the bottom of the cord. And I'm going to clip that off right in between those pieces. And then I'm going to take my pliers. I'm going to push that down so that the wire is in between the short edge and the long edge of the cord. Just hiding it in there so that it doesn't catch on anything, and that's as good a place as any to put it so that it's out of the way. So it's right there in between the long and the short cord. I'm just going to squeeze it together so that that wire doesn't catch on your clothes or anything. Here we go. So there's that. Then I'm going to take this other end where your short tail was, and I'm going to feed that through in between the loop and wrap it around one of the cords, one side of your loop. So on one side, again, I'm going to feed it through the center. And to wrap it around, I'm going to use my pliers because I think it's easier to see without my fingers in the way. It's right there in the center. So it's right in the middle there, around one side of the cord, right in the middle of your loop. Pull that nice and tight. You can see I've got that wrapped around there twice. You can wrap it around more times if you want, but 2 at the minimum. So there I've got 2 nice wraps on that side. So now I'm going to poke it through the center one more time and then clip it off. And I want to clip it so that that edge is right in the middle of the loop, in between the loops. So again, it's hidden and away from any snagging of your clothes. We'll clip that off. There's a little tip there. And I'm going to squeeze it down in between the loop. So there we go. I can feel it sticking up a little bit. Okay, there, you got it. So there's my first loop. Just want to make sure that that's not going to come loose. Nice and tight, nice and neat. Neaten it up a little bit. And there we go. And now we're going to do the other side. Do the same thing. I like to bring it over and make sure my loops are as close to the same size as possible. Just kind of bring them side by side. Make my loop. There we go. Grab my other piece of wire, again 4 inches, 24 gauge wire. Slide it up until the wire is resting about 1/4 of an inch from the bottom of my leather. There's my tail. Oops. Okay, let's grab the end of my wire. Flip it around so you can see beyond my fingers. It's kind of hard when it's this small a piece to make it so that you can see it. Sometimes wish the camera was behind me, but that's not possible. So I'm going to wrap my long edge around my leather. Push that up a little bit. Pull this down a little bit. Here we go. So I have my 1/4 inch tail. Wrapped it around twice. I'm going to wrap it around 2 more times. Here we go. Then I'm going to bring that tail in between the short edge and the long edge of the leather. You can see where I've tucked it under there. I'm going to cut off my tail right in between the folds of the leather. And I'm going to take my pliers. In this case, I'm going to use my my round nose pliers because they're pointier. I'm going to squeeze that down in between my leather end and my long end. So you can see where I've kind of pushed it down in there, in between. And then I'm going to take my flat nose pliers and squeeze my wire until it's a lot tighter around there so it's nice and secure. Squeeze those ends together. Okay. Just neaten up my wire a little bit. Nice and tight. Now I'm going to take the other tail of my wire and I'm going to feed it through the loop. Here's my loop. Okay, I'm going to feed it through the loop. And wrap it around one side of my leather, of my cord. I'm going to do it a second time. Just feed that tail through my loop. And wrap. Here we go. And I'm going to put it through there one last time. I'm going to tighten this up a little bit. Feed it through one last time. Right through the center. And clip off the end. So let's clip off that tail. Yeah. And squeeze down the wire so it's nice and snug in between the loop. Check it out. Make sure there's nothing sticking out that's going to do damage to my clothes. Here we go. Neaten up my wires a little bit. Yeah, squish them together. Make them nice and neat. Squeeze it down. Test it out. Make sure it's nice and tight. See that little edge sticking up a little bit. Squish it down a little more. There, nice and secure. And there is my cord, all ready for use. All right, so that's step one. That's probably the longest part of it. The next thing that we're going to do is make S-hooks. So what I need for that is about 2 inches of 20 gauge wire. Now, I'm using 2 inches because I just want little short S-hooks. You use more wire, the longer you want your S-hooks to be. Less wire, the shorter you want your S-hooks to be. But I only want mine to be about 3/4 of an inch long by the time I'm finished. So 2 inches is plenty. So the first thing that we're going to do is take your round nose pliers, grab the tip of your wire, just grab it right in between the very tip of your pliers. So the tip of your pliers grabs the tip of your wire. And we're going to make a loop. Oops. The tiniest possible loop you can make. And once you've made your loop, just want to squeeze it down a little bit because you want it to really, really be tiny. So you're just kind of squeezing it into a little nub, and I'm going to use the flat nose pliers for that. There, it's nice and close. And then I'm going to take my round nose pliers again, and I'm going to slide my pliers in. I'm just going to grasp my wire just below the ring. So here's my ring. I want to grasp it just below. Now one side has got the ring hanging over it. It can be on the side, it can be top, or it can be bottom. But whatever side this ring is hooked onto, you're going to wrap your wire around the other direction. So my loop is on this side of my pliers. So I'm going to wrap my wire around the other side of my pliers. Now I'm going to slide my loop back until it's at the very base of my pliers because I want a nice big loop here. And the further back you go on your pliers, the bigger your loop. So I'm going to wrap my wire around the base of my pliers till it taps the top of my loop, and I have a nice shepherd's hook. Okay, and that's one side. Now I'm going to do the other side, and I can see it's a little long. I only need about an inch beneath my hook. So I'm going to clip that off. And anybody who knows me knows I always cut a little more than I need. I probably needed about 1 3/4 inches instead of 2, obviously, because I'm cutting off about 1/4 inch of wire. So let's cut that off. I always direct it down or away from my face or away from anybody else who might be in there, because I don't want to be the cause of putting somebody's eye out, because sometimes, clip a little more off, sometimes this wire can fly and you don't want it to hit anybody because it's like a flying needle. All right, so now I'm going to make another loop. And this loop is going to be going in the same direction as the one that, it's going to be on the same side as the one that you're looking at here. I'm going to make another tiny loop. Small as I can make it. Okay. Put my pliers in. Loop is hanging down here. Bring my wire over the other side of my pliers. And there's the other side of my S-hook. Nice, neat, tidy. This one's a little smaller, which is fine. Nice, neat, tidy S-hook. Oops, and I dropped it. Trying to show it to you. There we go. Now we have our S-hook. And what we're going to do next is do a chain. So I've got a chain started. And again, I've already gone over how to do a chain link. And what we're going to do is do a wrapped bead to attach this. These are all wrapped loops on here. So I'm going to show you how to add another wrapped loop. So what we're going to do is take your wire, and you want to make sure that you have at least 1.5 inches of wire on each side of your bead so that you have enough to wrap with. So before I even take it off the spool, I just slide a piece of wire into the hole of the bead and check to make sure I have at least 1.5 inches on each side of my bead, and then I cut. So, or the other way you can do it is measure your bead. If you have a bead that's 1/2 inch, then add another 1.5 inches on each side, which would be 3 more inches. So you would need 3.5 inches of wire. Very simple. So again, I have my 20 gauge wire. I have at least 1.5 inches on each side that I can use for wrapping. So I'm going to take my bead off. I know I have enough. The first thing I'm going to do is go down about 1.5 inches. And if you don't want to measure, you can leave the bead on just to get an indication of where you want your pliers. Okay, so there we go. Grab it with my pliers here, take the bead back off so it won't be in my way. So now here's how we're going to do the wrapped loop. we're going to make a horizontal. We're going to grab the wire with the tip of our pliers. So the tip of our pliers, tip of the wire. And we're going to make a horizontal bend with that short edge. Now I'm going to flip my pliers over until they're on top of the horizontal part of my wire. I'm going to slide it down to about 1/3 to 1/2 of a way down my pliers, because I want a big enough loop for my S hook to fit into. So I'm about 1/3 to 1/2 of the way down my pliers, as you can see. I'm going to take that short horizontal edge of wire. I'm going to wrap it over my pliers and down until it's straight against the other piece of wire. Now I'm going to flip my pliers up again until they're on top, they're laying flat. And I'm going to bring my wire around a little bit more until it's horizontal again. Now I'm going to take my pliers out, and you can see I have a nice round loop. I'm going to grab that loop on the side, and I'm going to wrap that short tail of wire around the long wire. At least twice. That's once, that's twice, and I have 2 nice wraps. And if you want to wrap 3 times, you can. If you have enough, you can keep wrapping until you don't want to wrap anymore. It's entirely up to you. So what I'm going to do now is cut that edge off. As close as I can get to the rings. Notice how I'm holding on to this so it doesn't go flying. I'm holding on the edge of my wire so I can control where it goes. Okay. That little edge that's sticking out, I don't want that sticking out. So I'm going to take my flat nose pliers and I'm going to squeeze it down until it's laying flat along with the rings that I just wrapped. Nice and tight. So now it'll be hidden between the rings and the bead that I'm about to put back on. So I'm going to put my bead on. And I'm going to do the wrap on the other side. Again, I'm going to make another horizontal bend. I want my loop to go the same direction that this one is. So I'm going to bend that back, flip my pliers over, slide it down to about 1/3 to 1/2 way. And you want to check and make sure, if you want to know how big you want your loop to be, you can slide your pliers into that other loop to see about how far down you need to go on your pliers in order to make them the same size. Now I want to again make sure that this is big enough to accommodate my S hook. So that's always a big thing. So now I'm going to stick my pliers back in there on top. Okay. Wrap my wire across the top and down. And I'm going to stop at that point because now I need to attach it to my beads. So here's my string of my link of beads, and I'm going to slide the last hook into the unfinished loop that I've done. I'm going to grab that loop and finish my wrap. So I've got my pliers holding on to the loop on the side, just like we did before. I'm going to wrap that short edge of wire around the wire in between the bead and the pliers. We've got 2 wraps there, and I'm going to stop. So we have a nice attached link. Clip off that edge. As close as I can get to my links. And then take my pliers and press that little tip down so that it's hidden in between those little rings. There. Nice and neat, nice and tidy, and there's my link. Great. So now I have a link that goes with these other links. So now I'm going to take my cord, I'm going to attach my S hook here. Attach the other side to the ring. Pick up another S hook. Attach that to the other side of my links. Attach that to my cord. And voila, there we have it. Here we go. Ta-da! Excellent. And you can change those to match anything that you want, to go with anything that you want. I love it. It's so neat. Now, say you're in a hurry. You say, oh no, I have this event. Oh, and by the way, this has got these nice little pearls on it. This came from an old necklace that I had that I wasn't using. So again, upcycling. Now, I can attach that. It doesn't look bad on the black cord, but you don't have to use black. You can use any color you want. There's all kinds of colors out there. So if I wanted to actually change my cord, that's why I wanted to show you how to make the cord as well. So you can change your cord color. You can make several different colors. Black, brown, pink. I have pink here somewhere. Pink cord. Here we go. There's something with some pink cord on it. It's all attached to stuff, so I can't get it off. But anyway, just to give you an idea. Pink cord. Every color in the rainbow is out there. Red, really great. But I put it on this because I already had it made. But anyway, I'm going to show you how to make this kind now. The self-attached cord. Really easy, very fast, much faster than if you're doing your attached chain, because it's all one piece and all inclusive. So I'm going to take that off of there. And I'm going to show you how to do this one. So I've got this nice little, these painted wooden beads. And I'm going to show you how that one works, which is why this one is brown cord. Put that on there. And let's check it out and see how it looks. Okay, so I'm going to attach that, attach it to one of my little rings. There we go. Here's one half of that. Okay, so let's do the other half. I think that'll look prettier on the black one. Okay, let's do the other half. So I've got all of the beads here that I need to make this. And here's how that goes. So what you're going to do is take all of your beads and line them up, because you need to know how much 20 gauge wire to cut, right? So you want to line your beads up just to get an idea of how long it needs to be, because you're not going to have the advantage of already knowing because one's already made. So I'm going to line all of my beads up side by side beside a ruler and approximate these that lean on their sides. What I can do is line these up and get an approximate amount, which is about 4 inches, a little more than 4 inches, about 4 1/4 inches. And I have 5 of these little flat discs. Each one of those is about 1/4 inch. So that's another 1.25 inches. So 4 1/4, so about 5 1/2. Let's see how close that is, because once you put them on the wire, they kind of collapse into each other. So this is about 5 inches long. Yes, about 5 inches. That's 4 1/4. About 5 1/4. Yep. So I about called it about 5 1/4. And what you're going to need is another inch on each side to make your self hook. So we're looking at 5 1/4, 7 1/4 with the additional 2 inches. Just make it 8 just to be safe. Cut off what you don't need, and that will be that, because you don't want to have to start all over because you were too stingy and you didn't have enough. That's heartbreaking. If you are thinking of saving wire, that's not the way to do it, because if you have to start all over, you just lost however many inches of wire you started with. So I've got my 8 inches of wire here. I've got all my beads. I know what my pattern is because I have one already made up. And the first thing that I'm going to do is make my hook on one side. So I'm going to take my pliers, make my ever-present, my nails, they look terrible, make my ever-present tiny little loop, grasping my wire with the tip of my pliers. Again, you're going to get so used to doing this, you're going to be experts at it. Make my tiny little loop. Teeny tiny, as small as you can get. we go. Yes. Close that up nice and tight. Okay, there's my tiny loop. And then just like we did with the S hook, we're going to slide my pliers in to the very base, or slide my wire into the very base of my pliers. I'm going to grasp my wire. My small loop is hanging over one side of my pliers. My long edge of my wire goes around the other side of my pliers to form a hook. And there's my hook. Close that up a little bit. There we go, like a little shepherd's hook. And then I'm going to bend it so that there's a little bit of a bend in it, like so. So that way your beads will stop here. They won't get hooked up down here in the loop. You want something to stop them from going any further. So now it's time to string my beads on. Now watch how this works. I know which beads go where. You just create your pattern the way you want it. And go. So my beads go on. One at a time. It's one of my light ones and my black one. And one of the reddish paint ones. And these beads are so pretty. They're all painted and oh, I love them. Oh, you know what? I actually saw these in a store. You can't get them everywhere, but you can find them in some places. And I'm pretty sure Joann's has them now. They may not have all of these colors or designs, but they have something like this. All right. There we go. Now see, now you can see why I put a little bend in this, because that keeps this from going up into the hook. So now we have our other side of our lanyard design. Now it's time to make the other hook. Now, the way we did it the first time, of course, was to make the small ring first and the large ring second. But because we have beads on here, we're going to do the exact opposite. So the first thing that you want to do, I'm going to give myself a little bit of space up here. I don't want the beads crowding the top. And I also want my loops to go the same way. So I'm going to go down here, just beyond the beads. I'm going to make a horizontal bend, our ever-present horizontal bend, just like the one I have up here. You can see they're both going in the same direction. I'm going to slide my pliers in all the way down to the base. Wrap the long tail around until it is flush with the pliers. Pull my pliers out. You can see where we're going with that. And I'm going to take my pliers in just below the bend in the wire. Take my long end of wire, wrap it around the tip, the very, very tip of my pliers. And there's my loop. And cut that off with my cutters. Now I'm going to close my loop up. And there is my other side. Straighten that up a little bit. And there we go. Excellent. And now we can hook that on to the other side of my cord. Slides right in there. And the other side of my ring. Okay, and there we are. There it is. And you can do these in about 10 minutes. It's so neat. Okay, so that is our tutorial for the day. You can just take one cord, 2 cords if you want, depending on the length that you want them to be, and you can make all kinds of designs. I just love it. It's really great. Just hold on to your rings, hold on to your cords, and just change them out to look any way you want. And you will be about as stylish as you can possibly be. So that's today. Happy Older Americans Month. If you're not an older American and you still wear glasses, this is for you. You can bling it up as much as you want. Keep it as neat and tidy and plain as you want. You can make it classic. You can make it decorative. You can make it shiny, or you can make it nice and natural. Anything you want. It's yours for the taking. Once you have all of the basics, you can pretty much do anything you want. So that's the fun of it. And that is today's tutorial. Can't remember what we're doing next time because this is like a month ago. I do these things way ahead. So anyway, we're still gonna have fun. I still miss you guys. I wish I could see you, but it is what it is right now, and we're just making the best of it. I hope you enjoy it. Please send me a comment. Please make some comments. Give me some hints on what you would like to see in the future, any problems that you're having, even if it's problems getting supplies. Let me know what questions that you have and concerns that you might have right now, and let me know how I can make this better for you, because my whole goal is for you to want to do this and to continue to do this. And I hope that we are keeping you entertained and interested while we're in this period of virtual learning. So just keep in touch. Stay safe, stay well. I will see you next time. Bye-bye.